always.
Yeah,
So this time, what are we talking about?
I believe we are talking about the SOPs for universities, very specifically in the context of Canadian universities. So
So here
I,
you
I'm
go.
I,
Explain
I
SOP.
I'm pumped about it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I
Yes.
know you were, we were discussing it last week, and so yeah, I guess you have questions, you are curious about it, so let's go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes. Without wasting any more time, let's just completely deep dive into it. So explain SOP in Canadian context.
SOP is your statement of purpose. And again, statement of purpose can be there for various purposes. Like it can be for not only just universities per se. I mean, because I know we started discussing it with respect to the Canadian universities, but then again, SOPs are also required for international students who are coming from different countries and they want to apply for the study permit. So that is where your SOPs are also required. But then for today's discussion, maybe let's keep the scope of discussion restricted to the Canadian universities per se. So if you want to get an admission into the tier one or tier two universities of Canada, like I'm talking like McGill, University of Toronto, Queen's University, U of T, Ryerson universities, and the likes of that. So the very first thing that they ask for is your statement of purpose. Specifically, if you're doing a master's program, if you are going to do an undergrad program, the same statement of purpose can be also be termed as personal statement.
Okay.
So this key question might arise that, okay, what is the difference between your SOP and a personal statement? Uh, it is just that these are two different terms for the same thing what they're asking. And since you are applying for a master's program, generally a master's candidate is expected to have some sort of life experience, some sort of work experience, which they will be bringing it to the table in comparison to an undergrad who has just completed their school or their plus one plus two, and and they're just they're just at their first pedestal of their career. So in that context, SOP becomes very vital because that is what it can literally make or break your admission or the chances of your admission in a Canadian university.
Okay. So as we understand,
Mhm.
SOPs are extremely important in US universities, UK
Yeah,
universities. I know when I went to UK University, it was extremely important,
right,
and it could make or break an admission.
right.
Uh, so and I believe that it's true even in US universities, because uh, it is the most important thing that you showcase. Uh,
True.
so is it that important in Canadian context?
So, okay, that's a very good question. So let me break it down in this way. So if you go to a US universities, okay, so to an outsider, when I say an outsider, to a person who hasn't studied in North America, um, the quality of education is pretty much the same, whether it is in US or Canada. Uh, for that matter, it can be a little bit cheaper here in Canada. Sorry, cheaper is the wrong word. It can be much more cost effective in Canada in comparison to US. But then again, the quality of education remains the same. Now, in US, they'll be asking for your GRE score, TOEFL score. If it's a B school, then it can be a GMAT score, in addition to your statement of purpose. Whereas when it comes to a Canadian university, they will be asking for your transcripts, your grades. Say if you're applying for a master's program, they will be asking for transcripts from your bachelor's degree, BE, BTech, or any other bachelor's program that you have pursued in your home country. In addition to this, that's where your SOP is going to come by. So you see, the the factor of selection comes down to only these two, vital things. Apart, I mean, I'm not even getting into the the sublantics of like, okay, how old are you or what kind of experience you're carrying, because again, no two people will have a same career journey. And it can be a person who has recently graduated, has completed their bachelor's, and it can be also a person, like for example myself. I had a 6 years of work experience, and then I went for my master's degree here in Canada. So people from different walks of life are going to be there, and so that this is where it eventually becomes more important. And this is one thing which I want to add with respect to SOP. So when I was writing my SOP, it gave me a clarity that what I want to do, why I want to do, and how I want to do, with respect to the programs that I wanted to pursue. So, to answer your question, given the fact that there are only few deciding factors for Canadian universities for the candidates, that is where a genuine SOP can really make your case stronger and help you get the admission, for the course that you really want to pursue.
Yes, that really makes sense. So, how do you go about writing an SOP? Since you have written one very recently, I
Yeah.
know. Could you break it down for us? What should we include? What should we not include? Is there a format? And should you be following a format, or is it just something that you write, and just showcasing what you have done and what you want to do in future?
Okay. Okay. So let me break it down into a few basic steps. So SOP, statement of purpose. So for when I wrote, or even the people from whom I took an inspiration, and based on my research, your SOP can stand anywhere between a say a 700 word to say 1,000 words. It doesn't I mean, it does not have to be a prose in lieu of your resume, but it has to make your case in terms of the purpose, why you want to pursue that program, um, what that program is offering for you. Say, for example, it can be that you have worked in a certain industry, and you may have a certain goal where you wish to proceed further in your industry. It can be as simple as that you want to seek another promotion. It can be as simple as that. Or if you are applying for a research based program instead of an applied masters, so you may be thinking that, okay, you know what, I may discover the next drug for the cancer, for curing cancer. So it has to be, so you need to keep your mind what goal you want to pursue. So we start with the purpose. What is the program offering? How it is bridging that gap between your current scenario or your current career situation and where you wish to proceed further. And last but not the least, it is your personality as well. As Canadian universities, I mean, anyone who has applied or is going to apply, they will always get to hear about a thing called a fit. How good of a fit you are for the university. It is not just like how good that university is for me. It's a vice versa process. It's a reciprocal thing. So these three things, which I believe carries a weightage in terms of your SOP, and that is what needs to come out as well. So when I wrote an SOP, my framework was very simple. So I started with, so I divided that based on these, let's call them 3P's. Okay. Purpose, program, and the personality. Okay, so let's break it down in that three aspects. And so on that basis, I wrote my SOP. Now, so so first I wrote my purpose. So now, and again, um, to viewers who are listening to us right now, um, SOP is not something that you are going to write at the nth moment, at the last moment. So SOP requires a lot of due diligence. Um, I mean, soul searching might be a bit a heavy word out here, but then yeah, you definitely need to dig into your own past of what you have done so far and where you wish to go. And to add to this point of where you wish to go, in an SOP, the personality aspect will definitely, will become much more, let's just say, much more meaningful when you are able to add that, what, after this program, I'm going to do such and such thing. So that's one thing. So keeping all these things in mind, let me talk about the framework now. So what is my purpose? So it can be as simple as, I mean, that I say, for example, it is about aerospace engineering you want to pursue, and it can be about that I have been an experienced aerospace professional for the last 6 years, and based on my career experiences, I see the industry moving towards the usage of artificial intelligence and data science, and introducing those concepts for the betterment of industry in terms of improving the supply chain and logistics and manufacturing abilities. The industry, with respect to the industry 4.0. And that is why I would like to pursue an advanced aerospace engineering program or an advanced supply chain management program, which will help me enable, or which will enable me to get into um, meeting these demands of the market, these niche demands of the market. So you see, you have to be very specific of what you want to do with the program. What is your goal? Now, just because you have written an SOP and you say that you want to pursue a supply chain, tomorrow, if you, after finishing up the program, if you are getting into manufacturing, nobody's going to penalize you for it. It is just that for the university, they need to understand that how clear you are having that goal in your mind. So that's one thing. So that was your purpose. And again, it can be, obviously, it can change as per your industry, as per your own taste. Coming to the program. Now, quite often I get to hear from students who are going to college, not university, college, that I came to Canada, and I'm pursuing this particular program in this XYZ college because an agent told me, or because an education counselor told me this. Right? You cannot peddle this same statement in a university, right? When you're going now, just giving you a comparison in terms of US and Canada out here. In US, everything is a college. Everything is a college. Whereas in Canada, there is a clear distinction between a college and a university. So in US, what we call here in Canada college, it can be a community college in the United States. But a university here really means a proper tier 1 university. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, coming back to the program of a university. So, you need to do a due diligence in terms of what that program is offering you, what is the curriculum, what are those courses which are there, or subjects as we call them in India, um, and and how exactly it is going to help you fill those career gaps or help you get that specialization which you need to exceed in your career and get a success. So again, that thing needs to reflect in your SOP in terms of program as well, that okay, that you have an XYZ course which has really excited me. I had a brush with this particular subject maybe when I was working in this XYZ company, and that got me excited and that got me interested and made me curious, and I wanted to pursue this further. So something of that sort. In a similar manner, say for example, if you, let's take data science, it's a very hot topic in these days. Now, say for example, if maybe 5 years back, if you did a data science analysis or some sort of analysis on an Excel sheet, please mention that example because it is relevant. Do not mention anything which is not relevant to the program or not relevant to your career goals. Because again, if it is not relevant, then it kind of shows in a bad light that you yourself are not kind of clear. Because again, these people, they are not, this is the first point of contact that they're having with you, right? In terms of an SOP. So you got to put your best foot forward. Okay. Speaking about the program as well, the university would also like to know why you are interested in the university. So this also needs, this also needs that that you need to do a research about the university. Like say for example, when I was applying for Queen's University, very specifically for Masters of Management Analytics program, I got to know that this particular program has something called as QUAAF. So this is basically a Queen's University alumni fund, basically. So it is the students who, with the help of investors, or rather, the students, they help the investors manage that particular fund in a very sustainable environment or an eco-friendly environment. And so that was very new to me, where like, okay, not only are you going to learn the concepts of data science, but you're also getting an opportunity to apply it in a real life setting. So you got to look out for those things. Now, it can be a club, it can be a professor, it can be a subject. So you really need to dig down deep as to what is about that university, what is that about that course, sorry, program, which is really, making you apply there, right? So this was about the program. In addition to this, and as a segue towards the personality, you can also talk about how to how your relevant career experiences, even if you do not have, how a person has motivated you to explore this new avenue. Even that is also a helpful thing, that which shows that why you are there. Now coming to the personality, now apart from the fact that you will be submitting your resumes, you will be submitting your transcripts to the university selection committee, admissions committee, uh, in the SOP, they would also like to know what kind of person you are. What is your personality? Are you a person who is a self-starter? Are you a person who needs a lot of pushing? So again, um, those elements need to come out. You need not give your personal life history per se. Excuse me. You don't need to give a personal life history, but you need to give a career base or a professional experience which highlights your work ethics, which highlights your professional calling, and which tells them that, okay, that what, this person is actually a good fit. Speaking of good fit, say if you have previously worked in the industry, it is an added bonus, because they also get to know by they I mean the admissions committee, they get to know that, okay, that what, this person has certain experience, and it is the experience which this person will share with the class or with the cohort which is there. So that is another positive thing. And last but not the least, as I was telling earlier, you need to have a clear pathway which segues into what is the aftermath when you finish your career. Sure, you are doing this for your job, for your career, and well, again, you cannot write it like, okay, sir, you know what, I'm gonna go and get a job like that. It is about everyone can have their job, but it is how you're going to make a career out of it. I think that's what they are trying to ascertain. Um, as a one, kind of a bonus, call it a bonus tip or whatever it is. Um, when I was applying for SOPs, not just Canada but outside Canada, in other countries. So in the SOP, one of my key points that I always mentioned with respect to that country was how that particular industry is faring in that particular country. So say, for example, I applied in, say, UK. So my focus was with respect to that, okay, aerospace industry was having such and such good time, or it has seen such, challenging challenges, or it has seen such and such stride in the United Kingdom. With respect to visa, a visa officer will look at an SOP in a very different way other than a university and counselor. The visa officer may or may not want, but then again, mostly they would like to see that, okay, that, once you finish the program, you would like to probably go back to your country and implement how you are implementing the technologies that you have learned here in their country into your home country. So kind of an indirect way of saying that, okay, that, what, I have finished this program and I'm going to return to my home country to implement whatever I've learned. In case you are not returning, or you don't intend, or you intend to contribute to that country's economy, so you need to mention that very clearly, that, what, this is the challenge or XYZ challenge I have seen, or this is the exciting key area which is coming up here, and I see myself, contributing in that field, and thereby in its economy. So that actually gives out a positive feedback about your personality, that, okay, that this person is not just spending money here to learn, but he's also there to give back to the community and to the world altogether. So those were my framework in terms of
This is an extremely detailed framework, and thank you so much for that. People, students applying or thinking of applying, they will greatly benefit out of this.